to start off by making some flaky, delicious biscuits. And the great thing about this recipe, I'm baking it now. I have to apologize in advance because my smoke detector will probably go off. It will wake the baby. It will make the dog bark. We're all going to be in this together. Join me for that experience. But for everybody else, you can actually, it's better if is the dough overnight. You're going to have a flakier, more delicious biscuit. It's great for late night baking sessions. First, who has big muscles and who's ready to use? I'm looking at the Levy house. I'm looking at Ava. Fantastic. I don't have muscles. We're going to see how this goes. But Cheryl, but what we are going to do is we are actually going to start by grating our butter. So I have 2 cups of butter. And it has been frozen or very, very well chilled. And I am going to start grating it with my box grater. And I don't want you cheating and using a food processor, because what that's going to do is heat up your butter. And the whole point of this recipe is we need to keep our cold ingredients cold, because that's what's going to make something nice, delicious, and flaky when we're done. So I was introduced to Southern baking and Southern food when my sisters and I wanted to go on a graduation trip. We all graduated the same year. Decided that we were going to go to Paris because we were fancy, and I had a hospitality degree. My sister had a history degree. The other one had an art degree. We're like, Paris, it makes sense. And then we realized that we were students and we were broke. So we did not go to Paris. We went to New Orleans, which was the next best thing. It's French. I will be retiring there. My husband, he might come with me, don't know. And it was the first place that the first big trip we took our son. And once the pandemic is over, I suggest everyone go and have some pralines and biscuits for me. And if everybody likes this, we could do a full, we could do a gumbo class. We could do etouffee. We can go nuts. It would make me very happy. Okay. How's everybody doing? I see everyone grading. So the other treat that we're going to make, whoa, that's a lot of butter. This is also the perfect class for someone who's not watching their weight. If you're not watching your butter intake and your sugar intake, this is the class for you. Okay. So if you've got a baking buddy with other ingredients ready, an important ingredient when ski like this, like a pie crust or a biscuit scone, or even a cake, is buttermilk, because the acidic buttermilk is going to react with your baking soda. More science than that, but I can tell you it reacts and it makes something fluffy and delicious. So if you don't have buttermilk, not to worry. You're going to need 2 cups of milk. So what you're going to do is 2 tablespoons of lemon juice or white vinegar into your measuring cup, and then fill to the 2-cup line with the milk of your choice. I personally recommend using a whole milk or a 2% milk. Skim won't quite have the same effect, but a nut milk or a milk alternative will work. Welcome, welcome. Okay, how's everyone doing over there? The Levy household, someone's bouncing and ready to go. Why aren't you using your muscles to help mom? Okay. Who's tired yet? Cheryl and Lynn have raised their hands. But by the end of this, you'll be able to say, oh my gosh, Beth Tikvah gave me such a good baking lesson and a workout. It's a 2-for-1. And now we can eat more biscuits. All right, I'm halfway there. Should I have recommended that we do this beforehand? Probably. But here we are. Okay. So the thing that we're making today are pralines. If you're from the South, you say pralines. If you're up north, it's a praline, but we're going to pretend we're Southern today. And this is a treat that you will see literally all over New Orleans. They take it very seriously, and I learned how to make it. I went to a cooking class in New Orleans, and it was taught by a woman that I could only describe as a Southern Auntie Judy Mahone. That means something to two people here. It means nothing to anybody else. But she was about 4 feet tall and very spunky. She took her pralines very seriously. So I'm going to do my best to do her proud. Okay. How's everybody doing? I might cheat soon and use my pastry cutter. All right, people baking along with me, how much butter do you have left to go?
Then only 2.5.
Everybody else, we can start getting our dry ingredients ready. This is going to make a fairly large batch of biscuits. So we're going to have 5 cups of flour. We're going to have 2.5 tablespoons of baking powder, which is an aggressive amount, but it's worth it. A tablespoon of granulated sugar, a tablespoon of kosher salt, and a teaspoon of baking soda. So if you don't have that out already, those are the ingredients you want. It's fairly basic. We're not getting too fancy with these recipes. All right, and that's the nubbin of my butter. The quality of my camera isn't great, so you can't tell that I'm sweating, but I'll just tell you. The 400-degree oven isn't helping either. Okay. Whew. Taking it seriously. Ava, are you helping them with the grading? Atta girl. Okay. I'm taking a break. My arm is tired. I'm going to start doing my dry ingredients. Whew. Unless everyone. I can keep doing better. While I'm just sitting here shredding butter, if anyone wants to share their favorite food destination, I'd love to hear, since we're all stuck here right now in Toronto, or BC, I'd love to be inspired. What's your favorite place to travel for food? But they're talking to me.
My favorite place is Italy.
Italy. Oh my gosh. Of course. Absolutely Italy.
Mexico.
I learned
Mexico. Delicious.
And
What's your
Disney
favorite thing to eat in
World.
Mexico?
Puerto Vallarta.
Puerto Vallarta.
What's your favorite thing to eat there?
Oh,
Pasta and shrimp.
Well, you go to Mexico for pasta?
Pasta.
Girl, we gotta take you to Italy.
tacos, delicious
Tacos.
And
Where else do
Disney
people
World.
like to go for food?
Disney
Okay, Ava,
World.
you need to do the thing.
Disney World. Anything shaped like Mickey Mouse is delicious instantly. I have a rule that I'll only travel somewhere if I know the food's going to be good. Clearly. What's your favorite for food? Oh, we're frozen. Whew. All right. I'm gonna do the big butter reveal here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's a pound of butter. For anyone who's lactose intolerant or wants to keep this par of earth balance butter, works perfectly fine. Okay. An insane amount of butter. I'm gonna put this aside. I'm gonna wash my hands quickly and then we're gonna get the rest of this going. Okay. So we are going to start with our flour. That's 5 cups of flour. We want it leveled with a knife so you know that you have an accurate amount. If you just sort of scoop and brush it off or shake it off, you're not getting the exact measurement. So the way we do this, you sort of chop down with your knife, chop, 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 and then you level it off. That way we're getting all of our air pockets out, and we're getting a correct measurement. Five times over. Three. Four. And 5. Oh. Are all my bakers caught up to me with the flour? Okay, I didn't get a no, so I'm going to keep going. So now it's time for 2.5 tablespoons of baking powder. There we go. A tablespoon of white sugar. And a tablespoon of kosher salt. It sounds like a lot. I promise it's not. We've got a lot of flour in there to make up for, and there isn't much seasoning in this.
I'm watching on here so I can hear. Don't know why.
Okay, and our last dry ingredient is just a teaspoon of baking soda. Remember that baking soda is meant to react with our buttermilk, so it's a very important ingredient. Think of it as one of those volcano experiments when you were in elementary school. It's our vinegar and our baking soda reacting. Oops. Okay, I'm going to whisk that all together. Make sure everything's combined. We want our sugar and our salt evenly distributed. This is getting messy already. As I told Gail, this is past my bedtime. Okay. And now I'm just going to dump all that butter in there, and I'm going to toss it around with my hands. I'm going to take my rings off for this. And I don't want it to be combined. Like I don't want it to look like a dough when I'm done. I just want all of the butter to get coated with flour. Because again, when we're making a nice flaky biscuit or pastry or anything like that, you want the butter to stay intact because that's what's going to make all of your delicious layers. We're effectively going to be making a laminated pastry, and I will be showing you how to do that very soon. You can see here what I'm doing, hopefully. I don't want to melt the butter with my warm hands. So I'm working kind of quickly. And I'm just breaking everything up, making sure the flour is coating all of the butter that we worked so painstakingly to grate there. I'm breaking everything up with my fingers, making sure that we don't have too much clumped together. This is the fun part for the kids to get in on. This whole recipe is going to get mixed up with our hands. So get ready to get dirty, everybody. Okay. My butter is all coated. I'm trying not to make a huge mess because my mother's coming to town tomorrow and she notices when there's flour everywhere. There we go. My mom wants me to clean the inside of the microwave because she said I was having company over and you can't have company with the inside of your microwave that's filthy. So I'm just gonna try to keep things neat as we go here. Okay, so I've got my butter completely coated in flour. I'm now gonna get 2 cups of cold buttermilk. We wanna keep everything, all of our fats nice and cold. So I cheated, I just bought the buttermilk, but as I said, if you don't have, you just need to add 2 tablespoons of an acid. So white vinegar or lemon juice to your 2 cups of milk. Okay. And the leftovers will be for delicious pancakes. So I'm going to pour this in. I'm going to start mixing it all up with my hands until it's a shaggy dough. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. For anyone who doesn't like weird textures, this is not the recipe for you. My son would hate this. Okay, let's do it. Oh, that's cold. Okay. Oh my God. Anybody getting as messy as me, or am I all alone in this?
We're whisking the dry ingredients. What do we need to do?
After you whisk dry ingredients, you're going to put the butter in, and using your hands, just coat all the butter in all of your flour and dry ingredients. Okay.
Can we put the flour into the butter?
So you mix all the flour, the baking powder, the sugar, the salt, the baking soda all together first, and then you put the butter in with it.
But can you put the flour mixture into the butter?
Oh yeah, doesn't matter how you combine them as long as they are combined. Okay, apparently I'm someone who doesn't like texture. This is driving me insane. Okay, we've got a super wet shaggy dough. Oh. I'm just trying to get all the flour incorporated. And then what we're going to do, because this is nothing, this is not food, we are going to knead this all on a floured surface. I have my handy dandy marble board here, specifically for crusts and pastries. It was the one thing on our wedding registry that my husband said we would never be bought. It was the first gift we bought. I showed him. Ridiculous. All right, I'm going to dump this out. Just make it easier. Goodbye, messy bowl. Don't miss you. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to knead this all together. Oh my God. Until it actually comes together and it's not sticking to me like crazy. And then we're going to do the lamination process. Lamination just means making layers. And I'm going to do my best to wait for all my bakers to do it along with me, because there's some level of technique to it. Not much, but a little bit. If you look though, you can see that you can still see the butter. And what's going to happen when we bake it is the butter is going to melt, but the pastry isn't going to fill in where it melted. And that's how you get those nice little flaky holes and deliciousness. Oh my gosh, my Beth Tikvah computer is a little floury.
Sorry, after you put the flour and butter together, that's when you add the buttermilk?
Correct.
And then you just mush it up or what?
You mush it up.
Okay.
Get messy with me. Oh no, don't know if I call this kneading or if I just call it smushing it back into a ball. That's what we're going to try to do. We want to knead it until it's smooth and not sticking anymore. This is the best workout I've had in weeks. Weeks. I'm 5 months pregnant. It's the best workout I've had in 5 months. This is great. Who am I kidding working out? Okay. It's coming together, so I'm just going to wash my hands so I can get an idea of whether or not this is actually sticky or not. It's hard to tell when it's sticking to itself. Give me one sec. Okay, everyone, how are we doing? Penny, I see you working very hard. Okay, once I wash my hands, I'm realizing the dough is actually coming together beautifully. It's exactly what I want. I'm pushing everything away. Oh. So this is not going to be like a pretty cookie dough. It's not going to be smooth. And if anyone did my Knishes class, it's not going to be elasticy or anything like that. We just want it to be not shaggy anymore and not sticking to our hands. So I'm in good shape. How's everyone else doing? All right. I have named this biscuit Big Bertha. Oh my God.
Sorry, you need it on the, you got to take it out of the bowl, need it on the counter, I guess? Sorry,
Yes,
yeah, I couldn't see what
absolutely.
you're doing. Okay.
I heard an ew. Oh, that's sugar. We're not needing sugar. So I'm just getting ready for my little lamination project here. I'm going to dust the top of this with flour. And I'm going to dust my board with flour as well. If I could get a thumbs up from my bakers about whether or not I can go forward with my little project here. Levies. Yeah, Cheryl. Okay, the Kirshans, I think you are definitely like a good 5 minutes away. Penster is working hard. Can't hear you, but I know that you're talking to me. Okay. I'm going to show you what to do, and Lynn or Ava might want to just watch. So I'm going to take out my rolling pin, and I'm going to roll this so that it's 9 by 12 inches, give or take. We want it to be a rectangle. Don't need you to get away from me. So we have our big, beautiful rectangle here, and we're going to fold it into thirds. So that's 1, 2. And then I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. And I'm going to roll it again. So that it's a 9 by 12 inch rectangle. Don't worry, this is going to happen a few times, so you'll get a chance to see what this looks like again. Already I can tell this is coming together very nicely. Now this time, we're going to fold it 4 times. So I'm going to fold one end into the middle. I'm going to fold the other end into the middle. I'm going to close it like a book. And turn it 90 degrees. Bonk. Do it again. I'm rolling again, 9 by 12. Oh my God, my dog's licking my feet. Okay, I've dropped a lot of butter. And as I'm looking at this, I still see flecks of butter. So I know that everything's still sort of going to keep the shape and the texture that I want. I'm going to fold it into thirds again. So remember, that's once and then over again. And turn it 90 degrees. This is our last time. Our dough is getting nice and springy now. Ooh. Okay, this time I'm going to do that book fold again. That's not big enough. There we go. So I'm going to fold into the middle and into the middle and then fold it in half. Hello, Big Bertha. So now you have a beautiful laminated dough. Mazel tov, everybody. You just graduated pastry school. I am now going to roll this into a 9 by 15 inch rectangle. Do I know what 15 inches looks like? No. We're going to just hope for the best.
How many times are we laminating, and what is your dough supposed to look like when you start?
So when you start, When you start, it's still wet and it doesn't look beautiful, but it's smooth enough that when you touch it, it's not coming off and making your hands messy. And we did 4 turns. We turned a complete circle. So that was 2 of the 3 folds, and then another 2 of those sort of book folds where we did 4 folds. And when you're done, it's incredibly smooth. And hopefully you're not out of breath like I am. We're making square biscuits today. If you have a circle cutter, you can do that. But we're just going to use our knife. So I mentioned that this recipe recommends that you freeze your dough for an hour to 24 hours. I'm not going to do that just because I want to show you at least sort of what they'll look like. Maybe I'll do half. The point of freezing is just to get that butter to re-solidify. But we'll see how it goes if we just do it fresh. So I've got my lovely rectangle here. And I'm going to just trim the edges so that it's super neat. I don't know if you can see, but that's all layers. Looks good to me. Okay, and I am going to trim this into 12 equal squares. And when I say equal, I mean every single one will be different. This is not my forte. Yep, every single one is different. Nailed it. Okay. So I am going to quickly melt a little bit of butter that we're going to brush on top. And I'll show you how to finish these off for when you're done freezing them. And then we will move on to praline, which is basically just sugar. Okay, so I have my lined baking sheet. I'm going to put 6 biscuits on each sheet. I want them to have lots of room to puff up. I'm very happy with these. So one of these trays I'm going to freeze overnight. And then I'm going to put them directly into the oven after brushing them with a little bit of butter. I keep saying a little bit, it's like half a cup of butter. We have our butter here.
That took a long time.
What's that? I'm brushing the tops with butter. And you can put a little bit of flaky salt on top. can make these Jewish and put some everything bagel spice on them. I'm just gonna do
It's a
little
long
bit of
time.
Very slow.
And to do other things.
Is there a
16,
question?
$16.
16. Everyone's tracking 95.
So
All
when-
right, everyone. I am going to put these in the oven. The oven is set at 400
Ellie?
degrees. What was our question?
Yeah, we just finished like the fourth, the laminating, and like now do we cut the edges?
Oh, I lost
What do we
you.
freeze? What do we freeze?
So can you say that all again?
What do we freeze? We cut them out and just freeze it that way?
I might resent that.
Cut the edges. She cut the edges.
I'm sorry, Lynn, I keep losing you partway through your question.
Do we cut out the biscuits and then freeze them? How
Yes,
do we
that's
freeze
exactly correct. Yeah.
So, and how, are they like just a square or?
Just a square.
Okay.
And then when you take them out tomorrow or in an hour, whenever you feel like doing this, you're going to brush them with your butter.
Yeah.
You're going to sprinkle a little salt on top, and then you're going to bake them at 400 degrees for 25 minutes, turning the tray halfway through.
I mean,
I am going to tidy up a little bit here
One right
so we
there,
can
right?
start making pralines. I have some people here who I know are just here for the pralines.
it's not ready yet. It's not ready. It's not ready.
All right.
Do you turn them upside down or do you turn them 90 degrees?
Just turn the tray.
Okay. It's 90 degrees. Okay.
Yes.
So that was, sorry, 20, I had to go find a pen, 25 minutes at 400.
Correct. And I'm going to send everybody
And you just
the
bake
recipe.
them off from frozen.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Who's ready for candy?
Lynn doesn't know that you put 6 in the oven.
Cheryl, you're making pralines with me. Fantastic.
Ellie,
Sure, okay.
So
Ellie,
pralines are very easy to make, but also incredibly difficult to make because we're making candy. So there's a little bit of science involved. Do I understand the science once again? No. But I do know that you need to get things to the right temperature. So it's very easy at first because we are going to just plunk everything into a pot. Or a saucepan. Morty, get down. Sorry, Morty got the biscuits. All right. Everything. I'm going to do 1.5 cups of white sugar. Mortimer, I'm begging you. All right, it's done.
What size
There
pot
it is
do you use? What size pot?
1.5
The pot, I can't see it. Okay, thank you.
medium-sized saucepan. You're welcome.
I don't know if we're gonna have time for the pralines. Could you just send the recipe like tomorrow?
I'm gonna send it tonight, no problem.
Thank
The
you.
pralines just take, oh, it's already 8:15. They take no time. We're gonna see what we can get done. So it's 1.5 cups of sugar and then 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. We're going to add 1/2 cup of regular milk, not buttermilk this time. You know you still have a baby in the house and the only milk you have is homo milk. I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter. That's approximately 1/3 of a cup. A teaspoon of vanilla. And 1.5 cups of chopped pecans. You can roast these in advance just to bring a sort of a deeper flavor, but you do not need to by any means.
Ellie, would
And
it be
that's it.
okay? Oh, sorry.
Now we've
Would
got
it,
it all together here. And we are going to put it on the heat and we're going to start cooking.
Ellie, would it be okay to substitute with almond milk or coconut milk?
I have not done that. We can experiment together if you're lactose intolerant.
Okay.
Because it's candy making, I want to say that the fat content is necessary. Like there is a level of precision here.
So it's regular milk, right?
It's
Regular.
Correct. So everything is in my pot now. And I've got it on medium heat. I want everything to melt together. And we're going to get it to the softball stage. So we can figure out the softball stage in 2 ways. One is you can take the easy route like me, and you can use your handy dandy candy thermometer. And softball stage is 238 to 240 degrees Fahrenheit. The other trick you could do, if you don't have a candy thermometer, is have a glass of water handy. And now it's literally called the softball stage because if you put a little bit of the candy at the right temperature into your cup and then bring it out of the cup, it will have formed a soft ball that you can kind of squish with your finger. If it gets too hard and you can't squish it with your finger, you've overcooked it. If it doesn't come into a ball, it's still under. So once your candy starts melting, you can start adding little dollops to your glass of water and make sure you're at the right temperature as you go. I would suggest doing it sort of from the get-go because you don't want to get too far, because then you're just going to have something that you crack your teeth on. And I don't want to be responsible for that. Mortimer, take down. All right. You can see in my pot now. Once my butter is melted, that's sort of a good sign that we can start testing the temperature.
What temperature does it have to be?
Between 238 and 240, so not a ton of wiggle room. When using a candy thermometer, do not have it touch the bottom of the pan. You're going to get an incorrect reading. Oh, it's filling. I'm at about 100 degrees right now. So also little people, hot sugar is very dangerous to touch. This is a mom and dad or a Bubby or a Zadie moment for you. Okay, everything's combined. So I'm going to stop mixing. And I'm gonna sort of wait to see when it's come to temperature. When it comes to temperature, you're going to want to remove it from the heat immediately. All right, we're up to 125. And I'll show you what the softball looks like in a glass of water just so you have a reference as well. But it already smells delicious. You could stop right here and put it on ice cream and call it a day. Don't worry about the candy making. We call these cookies, but really they're just You're going to plop them onto a tray and be done. The one thing about Southern cooking is it's all pretty low and slow. And so I'm rushing it a little bit so we can all go to bed at a reasonable hour tonight.
Ellie, what did you put the top of this oven, top of, what is it? Medium, high?
I put it on medium high.
Okay.
All right, I'm at 180. So I can show you just an example of what I mean by testing it in the water. It's not ready yet, so you'll see. When I put it in to the water, if I try to take it out now, it's not going to form a nice ball. It's just sort of tacky in my fingers. So that's how we know that it's not ready. I'm at 210. And I just really want to keep an eye on it because once it goes over, we're sort of done. Oops, I blew on the flame. Okay.
And you said
It's how much-
between 238 and 240.
Correct. No wiggle room for you. For those of you who don't have a thermometer, mine is bubbling now. So that's not a bad thing if you start to bubble. And I always find when I'm watching something like this, once I'm like 5 degrees away, it just stops moving, just to make me a little more anxious. I love that Frida's not muted, so I can hear that one person laughs at my jokes. I love it. Thank you, Frida.
I want to know something. The biscuits on top, the melted butter goes on top after it's frozen, right?
Correct.
Okay, okay. Because okay.
If anyone else has questions for me while I'm just sitting here watching, like literally watching a pot boil, now's a good time. Penny, you're muted.
Okay, there, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I'm still trying to figure out what to do with my Praline mixture. Am I supposed to
Okay,
put it in
what's the
water?
question?
Pardon? Am I supposed to put it in water just to check if it's ready?
Yeah, so if you think it might be coming to the right temperature, I'm actually like 5 degrees away, so I'm going to show you what it looks like in a second. You put a little dollop of it in a glass of water.
And what should it look like in the water?
When you pull it out of the water with your spoon, you should be able to roll it into a ball.
It should be in a ball. Okay, so here is. So it's still
It's not
going
going
down.
higher, Joe.
All right. I got to the right temperature. I pulled it off the heat. And I'll show you very quickly what it looks like.
Is it supposed to be boiling?
Yes.
Oh,
Boiling is totally fine.
is that a ball? Oh,
I lost it. Maybe I should add more. So at the top, it's kind of in a little ball.
okay.
And now, the thermometer is very hot. Holy moly. Get out of here. I'm now going to stir it like crazy. And you want it to get nice and opaque. And you want your pecans, or Southern, we'll call them pecans today, to sort of be able to float. And once you get to that look, you'll be able to dollop them whatever size you like onto a lined cookie sheet. And they will harden and be a delicious treat. So fun fact, my timer has not moved. I have no idea how long my biscuits have been in the oven. So good to know that when someone who is 2.5 years old throws your timer on the floor a few times, it'll stop working. Lesson for mom. I look at them. They're puffing. I'm gonna roll them around. Okay. I will say they've lost their pretty shape, probably because I didn't freeze them. Okay. Have a look there. A little bit cloudy.
Why are you stirring it so much?
I don't know the answer to that, Frida. All I know is the little lady in New Orleans told me to. But it's the real answer.
Probably,
I'm pulling it down and I'm
yeah.
adding air to it. And so I'm now getting it to the texture and the temperature that I want, because you want the pecans to be able to be a little suspended in it. You don't want to just pour melted sugar onto a cookie sheet. It's not really going to do anything for you. Whoa, mess.
So you were stirring it for how long or to what temperature?
Until, as my mother would say, it looks right. So it's going to be cloudy in color. My pecans are sort of floating in it. It looks like a beautiful praline sauce right now.
Yours looks thicker than mine.
Because I've been working really hard, Penny.
I know, because I don't know what I'm doing.
No, you're doing great. Let me see it.
It's not as thick as yours.
Did you take it off the heat at the right time? There it goes. 1 minute. Welcome to the tenant house or the run flat house. Holy moly, I'm just not a fan. The baby's still asleep, everybody. All right, we did it. I'm gonna dollop these on. So Penny, before I got interrupted, you're talking about how mine is thicker than yours?
Well, let me just see. I think, well, it's not a ball in my water yet. But it's boiling.
Boiling.
Is it supposed to be boiling or no?
Yeah, it can be boiling.
Huh?
Sorry, 1 sec. It can be boiling, and then you just want to get it to that softball trick stage that I told you about with the water.
Pardon?
I'm going to turn off my fan and hope for the best. So you want to do that trick that I showed you with the water. So you're going to want to see if you can get into a soft ball in the water. And then the reason mine got so thick, it wasn't thick until I took it off the heat and started whipping it really vigorously until it looked right.
Okay, so I should take it off the heat, maybe. Okay. It's
Take it
sort of,
off. Yeah.
mine isn't thick like yours. It's sort of, it's still like a liquid.
Yes, so mine was a liquid until I
Oh.
took it off the heat and
Oh.
incorporated air.
Oh. Okay.
Now stir it for 10 minutes. We did. Until it's cloudy.
Thank you, Frida.
I'm not cooking.
You're a
I'm
good
just
student, Frida.
watching.
An excellent student. All right, there's a
I'm
lot
a
of
good-
extra. That's for hubby if he ever gets home from work. Let's see. So these are going to chill. And if I did it right, they should have a little bit of a crunch to it, but they should hold their shape and not flop when I pick them up. So that's your pralines. They aren't lookers, but they're delicious. Is the praline like a cookie? It is like a cookie, but if your cookie was all sugar. You can get fancy with it. You can dip them in chocolate. You can add coconut to them. You don't have to do it with pecans. If it's an allergy or if you're just not a fan, you can use almonds. You can use walnuts. You can go crazy and do it with peanuts. And then it would just taste like a delicious peanut butter candy bar. And my friends, that is it. My biscuits are still cooking. But that was our crash course in Southern baking. I am literally schwitzed. I feel like I'm in New Orleans.
Thank you, Ellie.
Running to the smoke detector didn't help. Does anyone have any questions? So the biscuits.
What happens if it's not cooked enough and you put it on your baking sheet? It'll just run around.
It'll run around and it'll be nice and soft. And if it doesn't set, put it in a jar, keep it in your fridge, and then whenever you want, heat it up and pour it over your ice cream. And I had a question from Barbara. The biscuits will keep their shape if you freeze them. Yes, they will keep their shape a bit better. I can show you what mine are looking like. We've probably got another 5 minutes in the oven, but I'll show you what's happening so far. Oh.
Did you put yours in the fridge? You didn't put yours in the fridge though, did you?
I did not.
But you're supposed to.
You are supposed to freeze them. You can see how much they've puffed.
Oh.
I'm gonna put them in for another minute, and then I can maybe take one apart for you guys to see how flaky it looks inside.
What do you eat these puffs with? Like, what are they? Is
What
it
an excellent
bread? Is it what?
It's a thing of its own. It's similar to a scone. My recommendation would be to mix a little bit of honey into butter. Spread that on. You want to eat this warm, and it is delicious. You could put it as a side dish. I mean, if we weren't Jewish, I'd say throw some gravy on it. It could be brisket gravy. Was there a question? I ate these in New Orleans. They are amazing. Yay, Mel, I'm glad you like them. Much better than the picture on the recipe.
I guess it's not very good if you're on a diet all the time. I'm always
They
on
are
a
not
diet.
for a diet. But we don't need to be on a diet, Frida. We need to enjoy life.
You're right.
Oh, jam. Spread some jam on those bad boys. Delicious. Have them with your tea tomorrow. Do we have any other questions about the recipes?
It's still not forming a ball.
I love you. I'm so sorry.
You're not stirring enough.
I'm not a baker, I don't think.
You're doing great. So this is what, see, I can pick it up. I'm going to take a bite.
Aw, mine is still like weird. All right,
Is-
let me see.
Are
That's pure
they
sugar.
cloudy? Are they cloudy? Is it cloudy?
It's
Yeah, show me, Penster.
the color's okay, but it's just not forming a ball. It's just going down into the water.
Oh, pick it out of the water, Penny.
Huh?
Take it out of the water.
Pick it up.
Take it out of the water and touch it.
And try to smush it around.
It's just liquid. Oh, well, maybe a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's getting thick a little bit.
Okay, do it a little bit longer. and then whip it up off the heat.
Okay, oh, it's
And if
getting,
they don't work, I'll send you some in the mail.
I think it's getting there, maybe.
Mine
know.
was a little liquidy to begin with, but then when I put it on the tray, it solidified.
Oh, this is wonderful.
Mm.
Does this look okay? I don't know if you can see it, but it
I
seems
can't see very
liquidy.
well.
Oop.
I don't want you to spill it on your computer.
Yeah, I know, I don't want to.
You don't want that either. Cheryl, I can't see it. When you pour it onto your cookie tray,
Yeah,
it shouldn't smush out. It should sort of keep its shape to some degree.
okay. Yeah, and the pecans are all sort of on the top, is that right? With,
Perfect.
it
You
did
did
form
it.
a little,
If they're floating on the top, you're doing great.
yeah. Okay, so just take a tablespoon, put it on the cookie sheet, see what happens.
That is it.
Okay.
I can't.
Hi, Ellie. I lost some little people, so I think I have to put them to bed. But thanks for showing us. We're working on it still. So thanks.
Let me know how it goes. Send pictures. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Wendy's
Thank
coming
you.
up. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rowan.
Wow,
Whoa. Wow.
beautiful.
All right. I don't have
I've
fingerprints
never
anymore.
had a-
Oh.
I've never had those biscuits ever.
You have Hamantaschen instead.
Yeah, that looks so good, Frida. And I'm lactose intolerant, so there's no way.
No, you can cheat. You can use Earth Balance lactose-free butter.
You think so?
I know so.
Oh, wow, they solidified.
All right,
Okay.
my friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I can stick around if you still have questions. Penny, I can troubleshoot with you.
Nice to see you anyway.
Love you.
It's forming nice, thank you.
Fantastic, Cheryl. Good job.
And you just try to get the whole cookie sheet in the fridge then.
Yeah, you didn't even, I didn't put mine in the fridge. It just,
Okay.
What did you make? Are you
They're
finished?
not,
settled
they're
on their
not
own.
cookies. I'm gonna
Just let
bake
it
them.
cool.
They're
Okay.
Biscuits.
Oh, cookies,
just let it
biscuits with
cool,
the.
and it will be the sugar rush for the week.
Yes.
Like
after
sugar?
one bite.
Sugar
Yeah, they're a tablespoon.
in each?
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
All
you.
right, bye. Thanks, Cheryl.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a good night.
Bye.
Have a great night. Thanks for joining.
Bye.